the time for a Q&A. Mr. Mousavian.
You mentioned since the early revolution, Iran intervened in Arab countries' affair. Just some months after revolution, an Arab country invaded Iran. Saudi Arabia, GCC, supported with over $100 billion for invasion of Iran. Over 1 million Iranians, they were killed by Saudi and GCC monies. Saddam attacked Iran by chemical weapons. 100,000 Iranians, they were killed, and Saudi supported. It was invasion by an Arab country just right after revolution. Okay, after 15 years of disputes, I was the one mandated by President Rafsanjani, came to Jeddah, 3-4 days with Emir Abdullah. We managed a comprehensive package. Then Dr. Rouhani came to Jeddah. We signed the security pact. All security assurances. It is in the security pact. But now, everybody can see in WikiLeaks that since 2005, Saudi Arabia, GCC, pushed the US and Europe to attack Iran. Military strike against Iran. You cannot deny the WikiLeaks. It is fact. All my European friends, they have told me for many years that the pressure from Saudi Arabia to attack Iran is more than Israel. Why you violated the security pact we signed? What we did after 1998? I mean, for 30 years, either the first decade, invasion by Arab country, supported by Saudi Arabia, $600 billion damage to Iran, or after the next decades, again pushing the US and Europe to attack Iran, and then you are blaming Iran now. On disputes, border disputes with Emirate, this is something related to Shah period. You know this is not created after revolution. But Saudi Arabia has more border dispute with its GCC neighbors, more than Iran with, but you didn't mention any border disputes you have with your neighbors. On Egypt, everyone knows Mubarak was a dictator, corrupted. And I'm sure you would not deny that you supported Mubarak up to the last minute against the will of Egyptian nation. Whether we want to call it Arab Spring or revolution. The people, they were in Tahrir Square, and you were confronting the will of Egyptians, supporting Mubarak. Then they had an election. Morsi was elected, my brother. It was a free election. Then Saudi Arabia supported a military coup against elected president. Now the many Ikhwan al-Muslimin, they are in prison, and you are supporting the military. It was Iran really interfered in Egyptian? Syria, you are right, you had very good relation with Assad. I fully agree with you. Assad made a big mistake for mistreating the demonstrations. It was peaceful demonstration. He made a big mistake for violence. But Bahrain did the same. Overwhelming majority of people in Bahrain, they are Shia. Also, they mistreated the peaceful demonstration. The people in the streets of Bahrain, they were killed. You are supporting Bahrain. You are blaming Assad.
Can I answer, or you want to go on for another minute?
I just wanted to say, believe it or not, if you are going to go to complaints, Iranians, they have more complaint because Iranians, they have never invaded any country. And Arabs, they have invaded Iran.
Questions? Again, like I disagree with Dr. Barthes, I disagree with you, sir. And I refer to the Iraq War. If you remember when Saddam invaded Iran in September 1980, was it, or 81? 80. King Fahd told him directly he shouldn't. He should withdraw his forces from Iran. And for the first 2 years, when Saddam, in his pride and glory, attempted to militarily conquer Iran, there was not one penny given either from Saudi Arabia or from any of the GCC countries to Iraq. When Iran, under Khomeini, drove out the Iraqi forces from Iran, and then declared publicly that they were going to topple Saddam Hussein and take down his rule in Iraq, and started invading across the border into Iraq, that is when Saudi Arabia and the other Gulf states began to help Iraq. We were always seeking a withdrawal of forces from both countries in that conflict, and this is the position. If you look at the United Nations or you look at any other international organization, you will see that Saudi Arabia and the other GCC countries were always for a stopping of the fighting between Iraq and Iran. You talk about President Mubarak. Saudi Arabia has no inhibitions about telling everybody that when you have friends in power, friends who have stood with you, friends who helped you militarily and otherwise, remember the invasion of Iraq, invasion of Kuwait by Iraq. Egypt was a faithful ally that sent its troops to die on the front with their fellow Arabs and other international friends to liberate Kuwait. The kingdom stood by Saddam, by Mubarak, until the process of resignation and voting in an election that removed the power of Mubarak took place, and then we extended our hand of friendship to the people who succeeded Mubarak in that conflict. We have no inhibitions of standing with our friends. We don't designate them as dictators or as liberals or as Muslim Brotherhood or as whatever you want to call it. Those who stood by us, we will stand by them. And the other issue, of course, that you mentioned is on Syria. And there you say Iran has not invaded any other country. What are your revolutionary troops doing in Syria? They're there for a stroll, to visit the sites in Hamas and Hama and Halab and other places in Syria? No. They're there to help Assad kill his people. And that is where Iran, I think, should need to withdraw its interference from Arab affairs. And to compare Bahrain to Syria, I think, is like comparing what? Comparing a plate of butter with a plate of jam. And the situation in Bahrain is in negotiation with those who are claiming to represent the so-called Shia majority in Bahrain, and the government, and the other forces in Bahrain. And so that is where Iran can be helpful, first of all, by stopping any statements coming to say that Bahrain is the 18th or 32nd province of Iran, by stopping the propaganda broadcasts that are beamed on a daily basis from Iranian television and Iranian radio against Bahrain and against the other Arab countries. These are just a few of the things that Iran can do to help improve their relationship with our neighbors. And as I said, we're neighbors. We're going to remain neighbors forever. Let's get over this issue by concrete steps, not just by verbal announcements on that issue. Was there any other part of the question I didn't answer?
No, I think that